So if you look at the decrees that were read on Monday, and when you look at all of them together, do they signal that the 2018 peace agreement is effectively dead?
I mean, the peace agreement, I would say, if I'm given that, I'll even declare it dead before the recent decrease. I mean, because if we look at the peace agreement, the agreement is a composition. I mean, it came out as a result of different warring parties coming together. We have the SPLM in government, we have the SPLM IO, we have a South Sudan Opposition Alliance, we have the political detainees, and other people. So these all come, I mean, come together and formed the peace agreement. And therefore, the peace agreement, whereas it gave powers to the president to actually make appointments, but it didn't give like these absolute powers. And it said that in an event where there is need to create some kind of maybe appointments, it should be done in consultation with all parties, especially the SPLMIO. And over and over again, I've seen that I think the president has taken like not a unilateral process of making appointment. I mean, he has taken it like his personal decision, deciding on his own and making appointment, and that is clearly against the peace agreement. We have seen the peace agreement, I mean, violated in so many cases where the countries, even in March this year, where there was violation of the ceasefire, where in Nasir there was exchange between the government. We have seen attacks in different parts of the country, in Morobo, in terms of a Nimule Road, where I mean, intercommunal fight that is mainly because of SPLM-IO and the SPLM party. I mean, to me, this agreement has not only been dead from last week, but even before that. So um, I think the decrease issued is a clear manifestation that it's actually it's dead right now. We have seen elections being postponed not once, not twice, but so many times. We have seen the lack of goodwill and political goodwill shown by the leaders to actually uh, take the country out of the transitional period, which is, I think, is deliberate. So, and this clearly tells us that the agreement has not been followed by all the parties, not only the SPLM in government, but also the SPLM-IO and other parties to the agreement. So I feel it's not only last week that the agreement is dead, but the agreement has always been dead. So the thing we are seeing is that the country is running on the mercy of God. So yeah, it's not informed, though it's not run based on the agreement. That's what, to some extent, maybe a few instances we can defy to the agreement, but most times I think it's not run by what is stipulated in the agreement.
That is a very interesting take.
All right.
Yeah, and I understand, for example, that we are supposed to have our next elections in 2026. And I'm just wondering, like, for you, do you think that is possible? Are we going to see that happening?
Mm, I I I I think I'll be the first person to uh, to say no for an election next year. If at all we are having, I would rather opt for having an extension in the transitional period than having an election next year. Because what does having an election? I mean, there are prerequisites for having an elections. Before you have an elections, you need to carry out at least population census in the country that clearly informs the voter register, that gets the National Electoral Commission gets to know how many people in the country, how many are in the voting age category, that can tells us that maybe in these elections we have this number of people that are expected to go and vote, and we get to know them so that it informs the results of an election. We need to have a permanent constitution, a constitution that clearly informs a country how it's supposed to be governed. We don't have that done yet. We don't have a permanent constitution. For us to go into an election, we need to have like an open space given to all political parties to operate without them being mistreated. They're given the freedom of association is given. I mean, all these are not actually, we're not seeing them happening right now in the country. And therefore, if we get tempted to get into an election next year, I think that would be one of the worst thing that will happen for the country. The country will would really not be on the right side. I really want us to have a credible election, not just an election, and elections where when we conduct it and the results is issued, you clearly see that this is the will of the people, and the person who loses does not have to come out and contest the results and maybe try to defect and again come back and get the country back to war. We need a credible elections that is conducted in a free and fair manner, and I feel there's no any sign that the country is heading towards an elections next year. Uganda is heading toward an election, I think, early next year in January or so, but we can clearly see that happening right from last year, that the country is getting towards an election. You can see the campaign mode in the country. The country is getting, Kenya is heading towards an elections in 2027, but even right now you can see all the processes. You can see the moods of the country is you can easily see that it's an election mode. So and we don't see it anything happening right now in South Sudan, and we are only like 12 months away towards 2026 December, the expected date for election. So I don't think we will have an elections in 2026. I would rather encourage us to have an extension than having an elections next year. Yeah.
Oh, elections cancelled indefinitely.
Sorry.
Oh, elections cancelled indefinitely.
No, I wouldn't encourage elections to be cancelled indefinitely. I mean, we should give ourselves, I think, a, a very good number of years, and then we work toward that. And every, as I said before, that clearly, it's just a lack of political will from our leaders to really make sure we could have elections next year if the leaders are very very serious about it, but they really don't see that as something that they need to do it right now. But also having elections cancelled indefinitely, that means so much for the country. We will likely get into the worst situations that will take us time to come out from it. So it's better to have an elections conducted in the next few years, but not immediately next year. So we can give ourselves some time and make sure we have a constitution, a permanent constitution established. We have a space open for political parties, but also individuals to act freely. We have population census that informs our voter register. We have I mean, we create a fair environment where elections are done in the most free and fair way, and that when the results comes out, no one doubts about it. And I think that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hopefully, we get to see that happen. And
Right.
so, President Salva Kiir is 74 years old, and he has had a lot of health issues recently. And I think you probably have seen him go to like UAE so many times for treatment and stuff like that. Who is being groomed as his successor? Or do any of the appointees that basically were appointed on Monday say anything about that?
Um, I wouldn't really say that the president is grooming someone, but we can easily see from his actions. I mean, the we can easily see as the who is right now within the government acting as the right hand of the president. So you don't have to really get deep into that before you realize. And yeah, but I think I was saying this, that so many people claim that Adut is being actually groomed into the throne, and there are people also who claim that even Adut is the de facto president. I mean, she's influencing, making most of the decisions right now indirectly, and the president is only occupying the position, but most of the decisions are being met by her. But I was saying this, that if I was really a dude, I wouldn't want to come into the presidency through that way. I mean, uh, she is the daughter to the president. Yes, we accept that. And just like any other South Sudanese protected by the laws, he has the right to serve in any position that he's appointed to. And she is a South Sudanese. She is a land person. She's young and probably bears the hope of the young people of the country. But as a daughter to the president, that alone is a privilege. Serving in that position of a special envoy, that is another privilege. So if I was a dude, I really wouldn't accept myself to come through that manner to the presidency. I would rather craft my own way, and that can I can do that from the position that I'm serving in today. Make sure I go across the country, engage the people, engage the young people, and in case elections come, I can influence. I tell my dad that maybe this is the time I want to take leadership of the party, go for the national convention and ask the people to vote for you to be the flag bearer of the SPLM party. Come through that, man. I think it makes you well respected than when you're just getting groomed that way. When you're getting when you're brought up to power through the way how maybe the president just handpicked you and put you there. I mean, you lost respect from the people, and people see you as nothing but just because you're a daughter to the president. That's why you're quiet. But get it through the most uh, uh, good way. I mean, we have seen sons and daughters of former presidents that have actually came to the presidency not because they were just groomed that way and then picked, but they came through very, very interesting ways, and people live to respect them. Especially when we look at Kenya right now, the immediate former president is a son to the first president of the country, Uhuru Kenyatta. He was never handpicked. He came through all the necessary process, joined the political party, served in the lower position as a member of parliament, he served as a cabinet minister, he get to learn about how things are done. And then he went through leading the party, asking for nomination to be a flag bearer of the party, and he wins. He contested in elections, he fails, and then again try again, he wins. So that's how he should come. And right now, the only person that is respected in the country is Uhuru Kenyatta. He's respected more than the president, and that is because he came through a very, very good way. And I expect Adut to come also through that manner. She shouldn't really be in rush to get into the throne. I mean, she's pretty young and an exposed person. Perhaps she understands how things are done in other countries. She had the privilege to maybe live in other good countries that have a good democracies, and I think that is the thing that she needs to bring back home. Make sure that I don't have any problem if she advises the president at her stage right now, because that is her work. But make sure the decisions you're giving the presidents are the good ones that can easily make the country look better, create the initiative. And when you do that, people get to love you naturally, not because you're a daughter to the president. People even forget the fact that you're a daughter to the president because I always have the argument that in the next few years to come, we are not really majority of South Sudanese who are exposed, majority of South Sudanese who are learned, who know how things are done in other countries, who really have the interest that things get to be done the way how other countries are done. They're not necessarily going to look to their leaders because they come from the Dinka tribe or the Nuer or they are Equatorians. They're not going to really get bothered so much when your daughter to the liberation fighters, but all what they want is that you get to do the right thing at the right time, do the right thing for the country. That's all what matters in the next few years. And I think Adut is pretty young, whereas many people believe that she's being groomed for the throne. I hold the view that she shouldn't take it that way. She should always craft her own way of getting into power, and she should get it through a very, very credible way, not just being handpicked and because she's a daughter to the president. That will mean so much negative to her if she accepts to be done in that way. Yeah,
Yeah, she has to find her own path to the
exactly.
presidency.
Right. and
Yeah,
and
I
I
agree with
think
you on
she
that.
is really a capable person, I would say, and I don't doubt her abilities. I mean, she can easily create a very different path for herself, and use it even to clean the image of his father, and I mean of her father, and the SPLM party. She can revive the SPLM party into something interesting. I mean, there's no any political party right now that has the grassroots like the SPLM party, and I personally feel that if I am a registered voter and if I want to vote something, I mean, and the SPLM party at all have the good leaders who really possess what I believe in, I'll definitely vote for the SPLM party because this is the party that everyone in the country grew up in, and they know that this is the party that actually had the interests of the people. And it's very easy just to go back to the drawing boards and know what this party represented before. What are the things they believed in? bring back those things to life and just implement them. So easy. So you can easily win the support of the people. Yeah,
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing that happen.
exactly. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.